ดิฉันใคร่ขอเรียนเชิญมิสเตอร์มอริซิโอ บุซี่ผู้อำนวยการสำนักงานแรงงานระหว่างประเทศประจำประเทศไทยกัมพูชาและสาธารณรัฐประชาธิปไตยประชาชนลาวขึ้นกล่าวปราศรัยบนเวทีขอเรียนเชิญค่ะ The time is now opportune for me to invite Mr. Mauricio Busi, Director of ILO Countries Office for Thailand, Democratic Republic, to deliver keynote speech on stage. Could you please?
Madam Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Punting Samiti, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Labour, the Royal Thai Government, Mr. Amon Koranang, Director of the Occupational Safety and Health Bureau, Mr. Artiti Samo from the Thailand Isha Youth, from the Safety and Health and Work Promotion Association of Thailand, Dr. Charles Mai, Safety and Work Promotion Foundation, representatives of workers, employers organizations and staff from the Ministry of Labour. Very warm afternoon to all of you. Apologies, I came slightly delayed. I was invited to be here at 2:30 and I understand that the program has adjusted, so apologies for being late. But very grateful to be here. I understand that this new way of celebrating the Occupational Safety and Health Year celebrations, and I'm really delighted to spend this time with you and to join you with these celebrations here in Bangkok. As you are aware, the theme for this year OSH Day is Workplace Stress, a Collective Challenge. It is an important theme, and I'm very grateful for the officers here and for the director in particular of the Occupational Safety and Health Bureau for organizing this event, for organizing the material outside. I saw a few posters that I think you have used from the campaign that we're launching globally. So I'm very pleased that Thailand is joining several other countries in ASEAN and outside ASEAN. That today many workers are facing greater pressure to meet the demands of modern working life. Thailand is no exception. Psychological risks such as more competition at the workplace, higher expectations on performance, and longer working hours are certainly contributing to the workplace becoming even a more demanding and in some occasion stressful environment. I think we are all exposed to this kind of issues. The point seems to be an irreversible trend. So how do we deal with it? What kind of measures we put in place to make sure that these situations they do not create unnecessary inconvenience to workers? We know that in recent years there has been growing attention to the impact of psychological risks and work-related stress. This has involved researchers, practitioners, and policymakers around Asia and the Pacific, including Thailand. I recall that more than 20 years ago, the ILO published one of the first reports on stress at work, which is now becoming more and more an issue for researchers, for universities to investigate further. We know that work-related stress is now generally acknowledged as a global issue, affecting most of the countries, irrespective of the level of development, whether you are in the developed world, emerging economies, or countries like Thailand, with obviously a level of development that has significantly increased over the last years. So across the countries, but also across professions, and workers involved in different types of occupations, they are equally exposed to this kind of risks. In this context, the workplace is at the same time an important source or an important space for psychological risks, but also is the ideal venue to address them in order to protect the health and the well-being of workers. So we know that we spend most of our days at work, so the risks are there, although now it's getting more and more possible to do work in other locations, whether it's a cafe or whether it's our study at home, but still, ideal avenue to deal with these issues on a regular basis. I'd also like to recognize the fact that you are closely committed to this theme, and that this celebration is certainly a testimony of the fact that you you have a direct interest and a direct engagement to join other ILO member states on the 28th of April, on a day that we have started to observe now more than 10 years ago. Actually, the first Occupational Safety and Health Day was celebrated in 2003. 28th of April has also been associated with the World Trade Unions Movement commemoration of the victims of occupational accidents and diseases, which obviously is a very important topic of ILO's work and the work that the Ministry of Labour does here in Thailand. The statistics are quite revealing. We know by now that every year some of 2 million men and women lose their life through accidents and diseases that they are linked to their work. 2 million people every year globally. This is really more than any war or any other type of situations that has affected workers around the world. In addition to that, we know by statistical evidence that there are about 270 million occupational accidents, not lethal, a very strong life component. So important and severe economic costs. The calculation that we have made, and that they aggregate all these accidents, diseases, and other forms of occupational incidents at work, they cost to the world economy something like $2.8 trillion, which is really an enormous amount of money. I can't really translate it in Thai baht, but it's really a very, very large portion of the global economy. Switching to Thailand, we have certainly taken note of the statistics released by the Ministry of Labour, and we have noted the fact that you have recorded in Thailand national occupational injury with 3 and more working days lost, where about 31,000 in the recent year, and unfortunately we had to note 625 fatalities in 2014. We expect that obviously this is a natural facet of statistics, that there is a good portion of accidents that they are not recorded by official statistics, and we expect that this kind of accidents, they are mainly happening obviously in small and micro enterprises, affecting workers in the informal economy. So obviously the national statistics, they are probably an underestimate of the real size of occupational safety and health issues and accidents in Thailand. Let me tell you, in terms of statistics, that this is one of the areas where if we observe an increase in accidents, why it is a good sign when we observe a statistical increase, it is because they are recorded. So they are recorded, accidents, they are recorded, so workers, they can claim compensation. We know that accidents at work, they happen inevitably. The fact that they are not recorded obviously exposes the worker to some forms of risks and hazards. When they are recorded and are properly notified, it's a good sign because they become eligible for compensation and for forms of national welfare that Thailand has in place. So if we will continue to observe an increase in occupational accidents, we believe it's a good sign. In terms of the statistical work, obviously it's not a good sign in overall terms, but we would like to emphasize this point. More generally and importantly, in terms of protecting from occupational diseases, there is, as I said, a good way, a good part of our common journey to work together to reach a desirable level of protection and to provide effective and efficient protection to workers in all Thai workplaces. We all know that a serious case of an occupational accident or a disease is and should be observed for all workers at all levels, irrespective of their occupation or their geographical location. We know that without paying proper attention to protect workers in the workplace, a business, or more broadly a country, will have to continue to deal with the new global threat of health, and includes obviously Asian Island and by the Bureau for Occupational Safety and Health. We believe that each of us, as a community of the world of work, have a direct responsibility in dealing with these issues. Certainly governments are responsible for providing the infrastructure, the laws, the enforcement, and the services which are necessary to ensure nourishment. This includes the development of national policies and programs and the system of inspection that ensure compliance with occupational safety and health legislations and policies. Employers are responsible for ensuring that the working environment is safe and healthy. Workers are responsible to work safely and to protect themselves and not to endanger others, and they have the rights and the obligation to know how to participate in the implementation of preventive measures. We believe that a national occupational safety and health culture is one in which the rights to a safe and healthy work environment is respected at all levels. We're talking about governments, employers and workers should continue to actively participate in securing a safe and healthy environment through a system of rights, responsibilities, duties, where the highest priority is given to the principle of prevention. Let me conclude with a good and positive note. I really want to commend and applaud to the state months on occupational safety and health. Particularly, I'm referring to the process of ratification for Convention 187, which is one of the main conventions on occupational safety and health adopted by the ILO. As you are aware, Madam the Permanent Secretary, and again I want to congratulate and recognize your efforts on that, has recently traveled to Geneva to deposit this ratification and confirm in front of the ILO governing body and the ILO Director General the commitment and the good intentions of the government of Thailand in advancing with the promotion and the implementation of occupational safety and health issues. This is a good step. It's an important step in the right direction. I'd like to encourage you to use the convention as a main tool for framing further legislation and further policies, and certainly the ILO will continue to work closely with you as you advance with the implementation of this policy. By concluding these opening remarks, I'd really like to again thank you for your attendance. Thank you again for hosting us in this important event, and let me really thank profoundly the Permanent Secretary for her presence here. I think it's a testimony of her commitment, of the fact that is sincerely, personally devoted to this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you so